Well, it's been announced he is getting the band back together. Hone Harawira is going to make a bid to get back into politics. The Māori electorate of Te Tai Tokoro is his target. Of course, he was an MP there for the Māori Party. He was an MP there for the Mana Party. He then lost the seat to Kelvin Davis from the Labour Party. He's made an announcement this week that he is coming back. And I think it's probably good for politics, Dom. He is the kind of abrasive figure, and I'm not saying that how he appropriately speaks is always good, but he's the kind of figure that you want an even representation within Parliament of society, and there's no question there is a sector of society that Hone represents admirably.
Absolutely. Look, I mean, he had the seat, didn't he? Lost it, of course, to Kelvin. His biggest problem, of course, was going in with Kim.com. I mean, that was his biggest issue. But you do need. I totally agree with you. I like him. I don't always agree with everything he says, but I think you definitely need someone like him in Parliament.
I think also he sometimes comes up with really interesting ideas that cause other conversations. And I mean, like the example I can think of right now isn't actually a New Zealand issue. It's in America. You know, Bernie Sanders banging on about $15 an hour. All of a sudden, some of the other politicians pick that up. So sometimes to have that figure in there can cause other things to change. I remember interviewing him a couple of elections ago, and he had a tax plan called the Robin Hood tax.
Yeah, that's right.
Which was basically a 1% flat tax on any transaction that goes through a bank. And I remember saying to him, well, okay, so let's say I earn $1,000 a week. 1% of that's what, $10. So you're saying I get to keep $990 out of the $1,000. That's all the tax I pay. Obviously there's GST, etc. But he goes, no, that's it. And he showed the figures, he did the figures, he worked the figures, and the GDP, well, the amount of tax taken doubled under that plan.
Is that right? That's an interesting
Because what it hit
theory.
was those who were making billion-dollar transfers harder than those making $100 transfers.
Yeah, but of that sum is a lot bigger than your billion of your $1,000 you're earning a week there, Pat. So he's making a comeback, potentially, as he told Mahinarangi Forbes anyway on TV3. As I said, I think this is probably a good thing. Will he actually do it? Will he get enough support to be able to actually do it, though? I'm not entirely sure. I think it might be a bit of hot air.
Yeah, I don't know if he will. We have a quote from him, Hone Harawira from the Mana Party, talking about himself and why he needs to be there. He said, you got to have somebody in there who's a fighter, somebody who won't be cowed by party politics or by parliamentary politics and is going to stand up and say what needs to be said. We could never accuse Hone of not saying what he thinks needs to be said, whenever it needs to be said. Kelvin, he's talking about Kelvin Davis, obviously, tried. I think Marama has tried, she's the Māori Party, obviously, but they keep getting squeezed back into the party box. So he's really putting himself out there as the outside person, the independent person, the person who won't play party politics.
Yeah, I like the response though of Kelvin Davis for Te Tai Tokoro though, and I think he if I was Kelvin, I think Kelvin Davis has done a pretty good job, to be perfectly honest with you.
Well, he certainly played politics well because he won the seat.
Yeah.
We'll have a look at exactly what he did say. He's speaking of Hone Harawira, said he's being a bit disrespectful to the Māori MPs in Parliament, saying that Māori need a new voice in there. The reality is we've got a lot of traction around issues that matter to people in terms of elimination of sexual violence, in terms of holding the government to account around what's happening in correction. So, as you say, Kelvin saying there is good Māori representation in there, there is strong Māori representation in there. We don't need Hone coming in to try and fix something that and this is my words now, that maybe Kelvin saying isn't broken.
Yeah, that's right. And who's he going to work with? He's not going to work with the Labour Party, is he?
He's already said that Labour's too centrist.
Too centrist for him. So, look, good luck, Hone. I hope you get back in some way, shape or form. I view it as unlikely.